Greetings, Cowboy fans. Gino from Cowboys Coffee Talk. Today, we're going to finally settle the debate. Does Tony Romo belong in the Hall of Fame? So we're talking about Tony Romo, and we're going to settle the debate whether or not he belongs in the Hall of Fame. To help settle the debate today, I got some special guests. First we have G-Dog, Sup, and King Louie. So what do they call you King for anyway? Well, because when it comes to talking Cowboys, there is no superior. Arguing with me is futile. One might say it's a royal pain in the ass. So basically you just call yourself King? Okay. Well, King Louie, why don't you start us off? Is Tony Romo a Hall of Famer? No doubt about it. He is an absolute surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. And the reason is simple. It's stats. He is the all-time franchise leader in every major statistical category. And beyond that, it's the eye test. Anyone who knows anything about football, who's ever seen Romo play, can tell you that he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Thank you, King Louie. Okay, G-Dog, same question. Does Tony Romo belong in the Hall of Fame? The G-Dog disagrees wholeheartedly, and let me tell you why. You're going to talk about franchise leaders. You can't compare Romo's stats with Aikman and Staubach. You cannot compare stats across generation. No, in their day, they didn't have pass interference like they did today. They didn't have roughing the passer. Nowadays, the quarterback stands in the pocket. He throws it up to these 6'5" wide receivers who run a 4.3 40, being covered by these puny little 5'10" corners. If it's not a touchdown every time, it's going to be a pass interference call. And then, on top of that, you got these little slot receivers running free and clear across the middle of the field. Back in the day, there'd be a guy like Ronnie Lott that'd take their frickin' head off. No flags. No. Passing stats are inflated today. If you want to compare stats, you got to compare with the current generation. Romo never led the league in passing, never led the league in touchdowns, never made All-Pro, never won MVP. The only thing he led the league in was interceptions. Now, he pales in comparison to guys like Breeze, Manning, Rodgers, and Brady. So, in my opinion, he does not belong in the Hall of Fame. What does leading the league have to do with anything? Jameis Winston led the league in passing yards last year. Rich Gannon won an MVP. It's not about leading the league, it's about consistency. What is the quintessential statistic for measuring a quarterback? It's passer rating. Tony Romo is the fourth all-time leading passer in passer rating in NFL history. In 2014, he led the league in that category. Romo was good, not because he led the league, but because he was consistently good throughout his career, and therefore, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Passer rating? You're going to talk to me about passer rating? That is the most convoluted stat there is. Listen, top 5 all-time in passing yards and touchdowns. Breeze, Brady, Manning, Favre, Marino, all Hall of Famers. You know who's on the top of the list in passer rating? Tony Romo, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins. Not exactly telling of your top all-time players. No. Passer rating is a bogus stat. And beyond that, Romo never won anything. He's a loser. G-Dog's not down with that. G-Dog, why do you keep referring yourself in the third person? It's very unusual. Hater. Tell me, since when do they measure individual performance based on team success? Face it, Tony Romo had no help. He basically had to do it himself his entire career. He never played on a great team, never had a running game, and never had a top-tier elite #1 wide receiver. Say what? Are you serious? What about 2007? 13-win team with 13 Pro Bowlers. What about DeMarco Murray? How about the greatest tight end to ever play the game? And receivers? Dez Bryant, Terry Glenn, Miles Austin. Ha! Romo made Miles Austin. Oh yeah? What about T.O.? Did Romo make T.O.? What about Roy Williams? He was a Pro Bowler in Detroit. Trade him to Dallas, he does nothing. Did Romo unmake him? No, I'll give it to you. There were a few rough years, but he played on some very good teams, playoff teams. And guess what? He never did anything in the playoffs. No, he's not worthy of the Hall of Fame. Let's not pretend that coaching had nothing to do with that. Parcells and Sean Payton groomed Romo, but let's face it, his entire career as a starter, he was stuck with Wade Phillips and Jason Garrett. Okay, that's a fair point. Well, gentlemen, you both make a very compelling case. King Louis, do you have a closing argument? Listen, they call it the Hall of Fame. Who has more fame than the face of the most illustrious franchise in sports, America's team? Tell me. No one. And furthermore, if Eli and Big Ben, travesty of a nickname by the way, are going to make the Hall of Fame just because their teams won them Super Bowls, then surely Tony Romo, who is better than both of them, deserves to be there as well. Well said, King Louis. G-Dog? Okay, let me break it down like this. The Hall of Fame, it's like an exclusive nightclub. And in order to get in, you gotta have credentials. Tom Brady, Joe Montana, they got credentials. Dan Marino, he's got no rings, but he's an MVP. He retired the all-time leading passer, and he's been to a Super Bowl. He's got credentials. Jim Kelly, he's an MVP. He's been to 4 Super Bowls. He's got credentials. What credentials does Tony Romo have? Excuse me, he's a 4-time Pro Bowler. Pro Bowl? Who cares? Everybody makes it to the Pro Bowl. Mitch Trubisky made it to the Pro Bowl. No. If Tony tries to get into the Hall of Fame, he's walking up to the door. They're going to ask him, what are your credentials? He's going to say, well, I'm the 4th leading passer of all time. They say, okay, what else you got? You've been an MVP? No. But some people say I should have won MVP in 2014. Oh, you should have, huh? Okay. What about Super Bowl? You ever won a Super Bowl? No. You ever been to a Super Bowl? Well, in 2014, we almost made it to the NFC Championship game, except Des caught it and we got screwed by the referee. They say, okay, well, sorry about your luck, but get the hell out of my club. Thank you, fellas. You both make a very compelling case. Frankly, this one might be too close to call. For me, anyway. Maybe you can decide. Leave a comment in the comment section. Like, share. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you want some more information on the subject matter, check out the link to the article in the description. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. Next time, the boys will be back and we'll answer the question, is Tony Romo clutch or a choker?